So, just like so many other people in the world, they're very angry at everything. They're angry at God. And because God doesn't do exactly what they want Him to do, because God doesn't give them exactly what they want to be given, they pretty much throw a tantrum. Well, what you're about to see is someone who has been hurt so much by not getting their way. Someone who has demonstrated a lack of patience and a lack of trying to wait and trying to see the truth behind really who God is, because a lot of people think that He's just a genie, and a lot of people believe that He's just there to do whatever you want Him to do. But I'm here to tell you that that is just not the way that it is, and that's definitely not the way that it will ever be. And if you continue to think that and continue to believe that, well, this clip that you're getting ready to see here in just a few moments is an exact depiction of what you will turn into, what your thoughts will begin to be, and how you will feel as a result of believing that God is supposed to do things and God is responsible for all the terrible things that are happening in the world. If that is your thought process, that's a recipe for disaster. But without further ado, man, let's get into this clip. We're going to talk about it after. Let's get into this.
Let me tell you something, you little lying Christians. You don't have any discernment. You're full of S-H-I-T. You know what's very interesting about all of this, the expose of these pastors and so-called religious leaders, molesting children and doing all types of just evil things while claiming that they have superior morality. You know what cannot be ignored in all scenarios, whether it's church shootings, school shootings, mass murders, shootings in church while people are praying to their God. You know what I find interesting, and we don't want to talk about it, but I will. The common denominator in all of this is the absence of the claim to God. That's right. The absence of the very God that you claim is real and loves and have all of these attributes, right? This God.
Now, before we even keep going, because most people always use that exact reasoning. Well, if your God is so real, why is it that there are so many things that are happening in the world and He's not doing anything, and then you keep praying but nothing is happening? Number one, we can pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. But the Bible also further gives us as believers and just instruction to the whole entire world that if the people who are called by His names will humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, He'll hear us and He'll heal our land. And only until we really seek Him with everything, all of our beings, that's when we'll find Him. But this generation in this world has moved into such a non-accountability place to where we forget sometimes that the actions that we see in the world today, the dangers that are all around us, the mass school shootings that he's talking about that are all around us that are happening, the kidnapping, everything that's happening inside of the world that is dangerous has nothing to do with God, rather everything to do with the free will of man that we have been gifted, and that's how we're using it. We forget that these people that choose to do evil, that has nothing to do with God. And then people will say, well, why don't you just pray to your God and tell Him to stop this from happening? Why doesn't He stop it from happening? Why doesn't He do something to those people who are doing evil? Oh, trust me, vengeance is His. And trust me, He will repay. But He's not sitting here tit for tatting everything. Do you not know how many people would be destroyed if God was in a position where He was tit for tatting, just sitting around looking at everything, waiting to see something terrible and just zip zapping away? I'm not saying that there's justifications for the things that are happening in the world, because there's not. But we forget sometimes that people like this and so many other people that get so angry at the fact that they believe that God is not doing anything that they want Him to do. We forget that we have to realize that we're under grace. And this angry character, this furious God that so many people are wanting to be revealed, that we're wanting to experience, we have to remember that we're under grace. And without that grace covering, actually, we're doomed too. So yeah, the kidnappers and all they're doomed too. But how about our inability to get along? How about our inability to forgive our neighbor? How about our inability to love one another? You don't think that those things matter too? I'm not saying that the kidnappings and the molestations and all the other terrible assault cases that are going on in the world and things that people, I'm not saying that that's not terrible. I'm not saying that that's not bad. But what I am saying is before we get so upset and we want to put everything on God and we want to get so mad and we want to turn away from him, we have to realize the darkness that we're in and the darkness that surrounds us. And we have to accept that as reality and know that that may and may not even change because of the free will that constantly lives in us. And then you realize that instead of me getting upset at this and upset at that and practically upset at everything in the world for things that I cannot control, things that just are what they are because it is what it is, I'd rather put myself in a position where I accept that reality, understand there's darkness, understand that I need protection, and go seek out a protector. Go seek out, if you will, the protector. Let's keep this going.
God is consistently absent in all cases. Every time. It's people who commit the evil acts. It's people who expose those evil acts. It's people who conceal those evil acts. There is no God bringing anything in darkness to light. We're doing it. So tell me or remind me again, what is the benefit, purpose, or reason for even considering your imaginary God? For what? Oh, let me guess. At the end of the day, you cannot show that this God is good or real or exists, right? So what you'll say is, you don't want to go to hell. That's what you're scared of. An imaginary place that was given to you. We'll be back. Follow, share, comment.
It's interesting. That's very interesting because he said something there at the end, and I want to run it back because I want you to hear it, because I'm going to really prove the point that he doesn't even realize that he should be thankful, even himself and other people that think just like this should be thankful that the God that they're expecting and wanting to see is not the God that they're seeing. Let's run this back and I'll explain it to you after. Let's get into this.
A reason for even considering your imaginary God. For what? Oh, let me guess. At the end of the day, you cannot show that this God is good or real or exists, right? So what you'll say is, you don't want to go to hell. That's what you're scared of.
So I would say some people are afraid of going to hell, and that's probably majority of the reason as to why they are submitted, to Christ and stuff like that. Well, there goes some a little bit of that reverent fear that I'm talking about. Now, as far as what he said before that people can't explain or they can't show or they can't demonstrate that God is good. Let me tell you, anybody watching, and let me explain it to this guy. I would love to be able to if I had the chance. But the proof in the pudding of God being good is in the fact that this gentleman here and so many other people like this gentleman have the freedom and the ability to get on the internet and say exactly these things, to be blasphemous to God, who does exist and who is alive and all powerful. They have the right to go on and blaspheme his name, speak against him, try and denounce him, and nothing happened to him. But they're wanting God to come and strike down. These same people are wanting God to come and strike down other people for their wrongdoings. But like I said, sometimes we don't even realize the wrongdoings that we do ourselves that may be simple, may be innocent compared to bigger ones like kidnapping and harming other people. But we don't realize sometimes how good God is. And I'll tell you that he's that good because we are so wrong. Majority of the time, day in and day out, every day, there is not one person watching this video, me included, creating the video. There is no one that can say they go 24 hours a day with absolutely no wrongdoing. No matter how small, no matter how big, no matter what it is. Because there's no one without sin. And anyone who tries to say that, they're a liar and the truth is not in him. That's how good of a God we serve, that no matter what we do, and let me take you a step even further, no matter how hard we try to be good, to be perfect, to be right, we're righteous through and because of Jesus Christ, not ever because of anything we've done, not ever because of anything we do or aim to accomplish. That's how good he is. That you've been given a gift, each and every one of us, without ever being deserving of that gift. I'm going to leave that alone. To the next one. I'm out.